You all are doing amazingly well. Today is day 4, and I'm super excited um, because it's been 4 long days of showing up here and navigating the whole technology and network issues. But I'm super excited because, again, I received some feedbacks and I was very happy. I was jumping and dancing and just over the moon feedbacks. And thank you for sharing your feedbacks with me. I always look forward to reading them, and it just gives me this confidence that you are watching, you're learning, and what the message I'm putting out here is impacting somebody. So yesterday we started by talking about um um oh, what were we talking about yesterday? Sorry, I need to look at the topic from yesterday. Yes, yesterday was ascension, and I shared that ascension is all about how we rise without burnout, how we increase our capacity, expand our vessel to help us create that breath, that dream, and create those realities that we desire for ourselves as much as possible. And I was also sharing before the network went off and I couldn't come back again yesterday how we need systems to make that happen, and the need also for reading to help us navigate how we show up as much as possible. So already done. I was in the concluding part of the video yesterday when the network went off, so you didn't miss much. And I believe it would be best to move straight to today's video to avoid all the issues that come up um, when we begin to uh, record. So I'm just going to move straight to today's video, and we'll just take. So today is four, and I am excited because this is where it ends for people who have the free ticket, but then more money, um, which so if you would want to get on the VIP ticket so you can join for the last day, please do so. Send me a message or use the link on the website, the landing page that was shared with you. Okay, so moving forward, today's topic is affluence. So we had awareness, we had alignment, we had ascension, and now we have affluence. And when we talk about affluence, it's not just about the excessive show of wealth. We're looking at it from the perspective of multiplying wealth with precision and ease. And that is all we are going to be talking about today. So, I already did the recap and welcome from just earlier. So, yeah, we'll just be moving forward. Now, it is very important to begin to share at this point some of the myths that people have when it comes to having more in their lives. For some people, they think, oh, more means doing more, like having more means doing more, or some other people think um, having more takes care of the emptiness that they feel inside of them. But the truth is, more money, more success, and more attention does not solve those internal alignment problems. And that was why we were working and focusing on those um, internal work you need to do to help you create more without compromising on the important things that are there to you, that are irreplaceable, and you know that when it's taken away from you, it leaves you empty. Also, when you aspire for more and you don't have systems to support that, what happens is you create more stress. So you would see a lot of people who want to increase their income, who want to, experience better quality of life and all of those things, but then you don't have the systems to support that, and that becomes a problem. So doing it this way, going from having the awareness, the alignment, the ascension, expanding, your vessel and having the right systems in place will go a long way. And then affluence requires systems that scale your identity, your reading, and your values. Again, I'm always talking about identity because that is where every dream go to die. If you don't have the right identity and the right rhythms, which are the systems that support you. So systems in itself, like I established yesterday, helps to sustain your results. Why rhythms helps to sustain you, and rhythms are more about your pace and how you're engaging in these activities in a way that aligns with your own unique biology, because not two people are the same. A lot of people copy some other person's blueprint, and at the end of the day, they feel burnt out, they feel exhausted, and they don't create the results or outcomes that they desire. So we look at it from that perspective of doing what works for you as much as possible. Now, moving forward, affluence is not just about money, right? Tangible money. It's more about overflow across all the currencies of wealth. And I have shared that we have five currencies of wealth: faith, family, finance, femininity for women and masculinity for men, and fun. I'm going to go deep into that later on, but these are the five wealth currencies. Also, affluence is about overflow and safety. How are you able to handle overflow? For some people, they say they want certain amount of money, but they have a ceiling that once that money crosses that threshold, what happens is it becomes terrifying for them. They feel insecure about those amounts of money, so they go into self sabotage, right? So, once a situation where we help you at the end of this session, you are able to begin to think of those systems and those things you can do to help your nervous system feel safe when in the process of creating overflow in your life. Now, affluence is not about income. mm? Affluence is not about income, it's more about your heart posture, how you carry yourself, how you show up. And it's also about structure, the structures you have in place to ensure that you are multiplying with precision and ease. So affluence is not just about, oh, today I made money, so I am affluent, and then maybe if I don't make money tomorrow, I stop being affluent. No, that's not how it works. Affluence is about your posture, how you carry yourself, how you see yourself, again, your identity, as much as the structures you have in place to make that happen, right? And is what helps you to create lasting wealth without trading your well-being, important relationships, or spirituality on the platter of hustle and all those things that people do these days to make a lot of money. Now, wealth flows through assets. You remember I said affluence is more about structure and posture, and wealth flows through assets. Now, um, I established that assets are um, those things we create that could be tangible or intangible that helps us to multiply wealth, right? If we want to increase our wealth, if we want to multiply our wealth, what happens is we need to begin to look at assets. What assets are we building for our relationships to ensure that we are improving and increasing our relationship capital as much as possible? What assets are we creating for spirituality, for our finances, for our health, and all of that, those important aspects of life? What assets are you creating? And like I said, we have tangible and intangible assets. Your tangible assets are your stocks, your equity, your IPs, and savings, and all of that. But the intangible ones are those systems, frameworks, your offers, the trust you have built, your brand, your reputation. We always say things like a good name is better than riches. Your have done useless. So it's very important that we work on creating systems that helps these assets to improve and grow, so that we are, by that means, increasing our wealth as much as possible. So there are three phases to wealth flow, and I call this our wealth flow model. For everybody, we go through these three phases at different points in our lives. We go through creation, we go through multiplication, and we go through transfer. But you see, the problem is that a lot of people, especially high achieving entrepreneurs, executives, and emerging leaders, only stick to the creation. And this is the easy part of it, where you produce value. And one of my mentors, Myron Golden, he says value is past perceived voids, present pursued virtues, and future pursued values. So something that somebody, when we think about value, some people think, oh, what somebody values. Yes, what leads to people valuing that thing is something that they think is missing, think is missing, that was missing in their past. That is what determines value for people, right? And for a lot of people, they only focus on creating value or produce. A lot of people, they only focus on creating value or producing value. When it now comes to multiplication, that is where the problem is. A lot of people don't know how to multiply. They only create, they go through this cycle of creating over and over and over again. And when you look at the workforce, the corporate world, it supports that. And then you would see people going to work, and maybe they'll tell you, oh, you start saving for retirement. And when you get to retirement, your money is not multiplying, it's just static. And the more you use it, the more it reduces. That is not what value is. Value is something that keeps giving, buying over and over and over again. And then we have transfer. Transfer is how you sustain what you have created, and other generations coming after you enjoy the fruit of your work, thereby giving them a head start. So you would find that there are people, let's say for instance, people like Mark Zuckerberg, Dangote, Jeff Bezos, and all of that. A child they give birth to today already has a head start compared to some of us that have been alive for a very long time, because of the people they were giving birth to and what those people have created, right? And that process of transfer is where a lot of people struggle. A lot of successful high achievers struggle with transfer because they don't know how to. We are constantly in this creation stage that we don't know even how to multiply and transfer. You cannot transfer without multiplication, and that is why a lot of people are stuck on the creation. We get to start thinking about our multiplication. We scale through leverage, because when we want to grow, we need to start thinking about things that we do. For instance, you are working, right? You are an executive. You are earning a salary. Your salary can become a leverage, whereby you use your salary to invest in other businesses, and you own a percentage of those businesses. And with all the income that that business generates annually, you get a percentage of it. So you may not be working in the business yourself, but you are enjoying the benefits of that because of something you leveraged. And I say, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to building wealth, we need to put two things into consideration: currency and leverage. So we have our five wealth currencies. What now helps us to create wealth in perpetuity is how we leverage on those wealth currencies. And leverage is basically There are types of leverage. You have your time leverage, your talent leverage, technology, trust, and treasure. Time, we all know it. There are lots of people, all of us have 24 hours. But what now helps us to leverage on time is when we buy other people's time through delegation or automation. So we use technology to buy time, right? We have our expertise, which is our talent or our skills. Talent is like the raw form of what you do, of your skill, and then when you know it, you now develop it into a skill. So you have this skill or talent. I just try to use TTTTT so it's easy. I like to rhyme like that, in case if you haven't noticed. So you have your talent. This helps you to use what time for yourself to improve your own talent as much as possible. Now, you also have trust. Trust is something that you can take to the bank and it will not bounce. It's a check you can take to the bank and it will not bounce, especially in this part of the world where you may have the most beautiful CV in this world with all the necessary work experience, and you take easy person, send this person, and it will open doors for you. That person has built trust and you are leveraging on the trust that that person has built. Imagine that today a Dangote or a Tony Elumelu or Otedola or a Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg gives you a note to go to a place and say, give this person whatever this person needs. I sent this person. Do you think they won't give it to you? Don't whatever this person needs. I sent this person. Do you think they won't give it to you? They would open their doors wide to you. That is what trust looks like. And when you hear a lot of people talk about building your personal brand online, it is for us to build this trust. So for some people, they had already built this trust through their work, like people, all these people I have mentioned. And then some other people is through their brands, people knowing them as people who are people who do certain things. And then we have our treasure. Now, our treasure is just like our assets, your tangible and intangible assets. Whatever it is you have, let's say you have a piece of property and you want to get a loan from the bank, you can use that as a leverage to get your loan. So these are types of leverage that we have. And scaling is not practical, it's energetic. And I say this because there needs to be some level of alignment. Again, I always go back to alignment because that is where a lot of people struggle. That is where a lot of dreams go to die. When people have these beautiful dreams and goals and things that they want to do, but then they just can't do it because there is no alignment, right? There is no alignment. Now, alignment for your time could look like you delegating, eliminating, and automating. For talent, it could be you having your team, mentorship, and skill sharing. For technology, this forms your brand, your platforms, AI tools, and systems. For trust, we have your brand, your credibility, and your track record. For your treasures, you have your capital, your IP, your assets, your investments, and things like that. So, all for you to be able to build all these things, there needs to be an alignment between your vision, what you're working towards, your values, what those guiding principles that you stand by that guides your actions, and your actions, as well as your words. So your actions and your vision, your actions, and your values need to be in alignment. What you who you say you are, what you do, and how you show up all needs to be, and your vision, your actions, and your values need to be in alignment. What you who you say you are, what you do, and how you show up all needs to be in alignment, because scaling is not only practical, it is energetic. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of people fail to leverage is because we have this some limiting beliefs like I can only do only I can do it right. Like only me can do it right. Like I shared few days ago, or we feel like doing more than required. We feel they need to overdo. I used to struggle with this. Like, you know how they say, oh, you need to overgive value. But then I realized with the quality of people I've been called to work with, they're not looking for too much fluff. They're looking for the right thing. So it may not look so much for somebody who is looking from the outside, but for them, it is what they really need. So it's very important that you know that thing that the people who you've been called to need as much as possible. For some other people, it's also chaos. They create chaos. It's also chaos. They create chaos through confusion and exhaustion for importance. Like, have you ever been in a place where there are top level public servants? I went for a course in National Institute for Policy, at National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, and I see how most of these public servants will come in, and though for them to just make one statement that has like four words, they would spend 5 minutes using bogus words that don't even fit into the context and all of that. So they just end up creating so much chaos and confusion just to seem important. So all these things that we do, these beliefs and actions create leaks, or what's this word now, they compromise our ability to leverage. Now, we need, for us to be able to again build more wealth, we need to scale our wealth systems, our wealth ecosystem. And these wealth ecosystems are our five currencies of wealth. We have the faith, family, finance, femininity or masculinity, and fun. And our faith are our rooted beliefs, our family are our deep relationships, our finance are our assets, the tangible and intangible assets, our femininity or masculinity are our biology and energy, how we are able to use leverage on who we are, leverage on these wealth currencies. There is no way on earth you would not be creating wealth in perpetuity. Like, for instance, when we look at faith, we're not looking at what your purpose is and how you're able, and those people you're called to serve, and how you're able to serve them effectively. If you're leveraging on the family currency, there are some people who are from very notable families that their family names already gives them a head start. If you're not from that type of family, you have the capacity to create that for yourself. And then when it comes to finance, it's the same thing. You're creating assets. And then when it comes to finance, it's the same thing. You're creating assets, tangible and intangible assets that would help you create wealth in perpetuity. And when it comes to femininity or masculinity, so for women, we have our four circles, four levels, stages of our menstrual cycle every month. Our ability to leverage on the different stages of our cycle goes a long way, because as a woman there is a part of the month where you cannot even get to do any tangible work no matter how much you try, and then there are some parts of the month where you go on beast mode that you can do in 1 week or a few days, what some other people will take 1 month to do. So imagine that we leverage on this to improve our performance and the outcomes or results we create. It's going to be amazing. And then for fun, we have hobbies, we have things that we do. Personally, I love to go play golf. I love to play video games and things like that. So I love to also doodle, like paint and things like that. That can also be a wealth creating asset for me when you look at it from a perspective. So it's very important for you to build your wealth ecosystem to help you show up better. Now, when it comes to multiplication, you need models, the four multiplication models for of aligning wealth. Sorry. So you need four things. You need to take into consideration four things. You codify what works, you systemize how it works, you automate the process, and you delegate the execution. Now, for some of us, we do certain things over and over and over and over again. What you need to do is to look at the patterns of those things that you continuously do in your personal and professional life. How do you codify it? Now, when you're codifying something, it's like you're creating a code for it, like a framework that guides what is already working, that makes this look like, okay, this is the way to go. Like the John Maxwell Leadership Academy, I think they have the DISC method, that is codifying what works. That DISC is a code, right, for personality types. So how do you begin to codify those things you do regularly? And next is, how do you put the design a workflow process that takes care of that. Now, when you're done designing this, you now decide to automate it so it can operate as much as possible without human intervention. And when necessary, you delegate. There is this decision matrix where the tasks are divided. They help you, well, for you to make a decision on what tasks to engage in. There is a metric. So you think about a square divided into four. On one end, you have um, important and urgent. So on the first part of that square, you have urgent and important. So anything that is urgent and important of that square, you have urgent and important. So anything that is urgent and important is what you get to do yourself. And what is urgent but not important, you delegate it. What is important but not urgent, you delay it. And what is urgent and not important, you let it go, you delete it. So for a lot of people, we tend to make decisions based on whim and our emotions. That makes it difficult for us to move forward and create wealth at the level we need to be creating wealth, because we are not prioritizing what needs to be prioritized. And remember, there are just 20% of, the Pareto's principle, that's the 80-20 rule. It says that whatever it is you're doing right now, 20% of what you're doing right now is what's creating 80% of your results. 20% of your clients are creating 80% of your results. So if you focus on those 20%, you'll be getting more results without doing so much work. And that is how you do less work and create more wealth in your life. Now, when it comes to the systems to create, there are 5 systems you need to create: your revenue systems, your reading systems that we mentioned yesterday, your relationship systems, your reflection systems, and legacy systems. You would tell that I love systems because I feel systems just makes life easy. When you have a revenue system, what are you doing to increase your income? Again, I like to use the same letters over and over again, right? Only the only difference here is the legacy. But I like to use same letters over and over again. It just makes the rhyme makes it easy to remember. Revenue helps you to increase your income. So, what offers are you creating? What courses are you taking to improve um, your to help with your promotion, or increase your salary if you're an executive? What pricing models do you need to start using? What are you do you need to start scaling as much as possible? So these are some of the systems you need to start thinking about: time for family, and all those things as much as possible, so that you show up as a whole person. Relationship systems: how are you creating boundaries? Very important. How are you defining the relationships? What support do you need, and what support are you able to give? How are you able to delegate without letting go of important things that need your own special expertise or genius? as much as possible. And then reflection systems. How do you audit what needs to be audited and create that recalibration? Sorry, and create that recalibration when needed. Because if we are not reflecting on what's working and what's not working, we'll keep going. It's like moving in the blind. But once you have a reflection system that helps you to audit, and easy for you to spot where you need to improve on and tweak it as much as possible so that you can continue to improve and get better. And then legacy systems. I don't know what you're doing if you don't have a succession plan right now. No matter the level you are on, you need to start thinking about what you're leaving for your children. Do you want to, if you're married, do you have a trust fund? Because we have seen people whose parents die when they are very young, and their life just takes a completely different turn for the worse. You wouldn't want that to happen to your children, even if you're yet to be married. What are you doing to ensure that your children, as much as possible, they are taken care of? Are you building a business? Are you building a trust fund? Are you setting aside some money? Are you buying land, for your children, so that if you're buying land where development hasn't gotten to, by the time you give birth, you get married, you give birth, and you get to a particular level, the value of that land would have increased, and that can be something your children will be able to benefit from. Things like that. Do you have intellectual property? For me, I am very huge in terms of and that's trademark. Those are things that I am already in the process of getting a trademark for, because I understand that putting things online also exposes me, and it's very easy for people to steal your intellectual property, especially in Nigeria here, where you don't even have strong intellectual property laws. So you need to do all that is required as much as possible to begin to think about how you transfer wealth as much as possible. And I close here by saying the greatest evidence of affluence is this: it multiplies in your absence and it nourishes others in your presence. And at this point, I want to invite you to take your journey forward with us. You have spent with us. You have spent 4 days watching these videos, and this is the tip. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I've showed you most of the words. I have given you workbooks to help you. But if you now need me to hold your hand and walk you through this, you can reach out to me, send a DM, or send me a WhatsApp message to know how we can take this journey forward. If you would also want a group, that's for the one-on-one. If you'd want a group interaction, we have group offers available. Just send a message signifying what you want, if you want one-on-one or group, and I'll be happy to share them with you. Also, if you would want me to come have this conversation with your staff, or in your organization, because I believe this is something everybody needs. If you are up for creating more in your life, you're up for creating more expansion and growth, this is what you need. And I will be very happy to have that conversation with you on how we can take it, to your business or your organization as much as possible. This challenge will be running monthly for now until maybe something happens. But by the end of next month, we'll have another session. While the frameworks, while the framework still remains the same, some things would always change with new information, new learnings, and all of that. So I am inviting you to mark your calendars, keep out an ear to hear when we announce the date for the next challenge. And I'm also urging you to share with your loved ones, because I mean, it's life gets better when and we share and grow together, right? So this is my invitation from me to you to take this journey forward. It doesn't end here. I have seen people go on challenges like this, and for the first few days pumped up, and they're ready to go and things like that. But once you make a move to change your reality, to do something different, resistance always comes up. All those programmings that you have entertained and that have shaped your life will come up, and that is where it ends. That is also the reason why people have these new Year resolutions, but then they don't follow through with it. So I need you to make a decision. So I need you to make a decision very quickly. If you are this challenge, you may be unlocking some discounts, right? Quick action discounts if you would want to take this journey forward, because you can't do this alone. I didn't get here by working on my own. I had a huge team of coaches, of therapists, coaches that address different parts of my life to help me get here. So I want to be that person for you. I want to, advance the work, the kind I received to you. And I hope you honor this invitation. Send me a DM. I hope you honor this invitation by sending me a DM, and let's take this conversation forward. All right. Take care. All right. Take care and enjoy. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. um, yes. Okay. It's been an amazing session today, and we experienced little to no technology or I'm looking forward to hearing from you and taking this conversation forward. Enjoy. Bye. Hmm. Today, first time. No, thank you.